Hello everyone and welcome to LinkedIn 101. In this video, we're going to talk about the LinkedIn basics. And basically, we're just going to kind of give you a high-level overview of what's involved with LinkedIn. You've got personal profiles and company pages, and then underneath company pages is something called showcase pages, which aren't used very much anymore at all, ever, but just wanted to let you know they're available. There are LinkedIn groups, there's jobs, and content, which is in your posts area on company pages, but there's also content that's attached to SlideShare. SlideShare was purchased by LinkedIn and so is a little bit ingrained in LinkedIn. And then what's the newest kind of thing is hashtags. They're working much better than they used to, and now you can follow hashtags and participate a little bit more with hashtags in your post updates. So let's go through the home page. When you log into LinkedIn, this is kind of what you see, and it's basically the news feed in the center, just like Facebook. If you're more familiar with Facebook, which a lot of people are, but some people are more in tune with LinkedIn. But the news feed is comprised of any updates from pages or people that you follow, any activity from people. That's a little bit more visible on LinkedIn than it is on other social sites. And then you've got the notifications and menu areas up at the top. This is what your profile looks like, and there are a couple different ways to edit your profile. Anytime you see a pencil icon, usually that means there's something editable there. You can also edit the public profile and URL. So it's a really good idea to give your profile a custom URL so that you can have that nice and short and the way you want it to appear. And we'll get into how to really design your profile in the next video. But this is kind of the big overview, and you've got kind of a cover photo at the top and then a profile photo. Your public profile looks a little bit different, and this is for people who aren't logged into LinkedIn, that this is what they see. So there's not as much visible here, and you can control what is visible. So you know that maybe there's not as much personal information for people who aren't logged in, because you are able to see a little bit more of people who are looking at your profile and things like that if they are logged into LinkedIn. Company pages look a little bit different, but they still have a cover photo at the top. And then they've got things on the left there, the home, about, jobs, people who might be employed at that company. And they also have updates, but someone has to follow the page in order to see the company updates. So it's very much an attraction-based system, sort of like Facebook pages. There's not as much outreach. It's kind of people have to come in and follow the page. And you can see on the right side, there's this affiliated page. It's the Marketing Profs B2B forum, and that actually is the showcase page, and that's affiliated with the company page. A showcase page can also have followers, but you'll notice it doesn't have things like jobs. And that a showcase page could be for like a product, or in this case, this is for an event. But looking at showcase pages that I've known that are out there, there's just not too many people using them and not too many people following them either. So I wouldn't waste too much time with showcase pages, but it can be a nice way to feature products, for example. Groups are available still on LinkedIn. They're not quite as big a thing, I think, as Facebook groups, but people are still participating in LinkedIn groups for sure. And you can click on the groups, and then you can go and see groups that are available, like you have joined in the past, and then you can go and discover and search for groups as well. So it might be a good strategy especially for people who are in that B2B market. And you do have to request to join a group. All groups are now by request only on LinkedIn. So some of the times you have to kind of be a little wary of groups that might be sort of dead, where you might request to join them and just never get approved to join them because maybe the group owner isn't really paying attention to that anymore. But you can typically kind of see that it might be a little bit active if there are maybe some managers and things like that. It's hard to know from the outside without requesting to join. Hashtags are a new thing. You can follow a hashtag. You can obviously use hashtags in your posts, and you can see, for example, Rob Burns here has a post where he's got lots of different hashtags in there available. Vivica von Rosen says, like 11 hashtags is about the maximum. You don't want to necessarily stuff your posts with hashtags, but it's an option if it is relevant, and it does get a little bit more visibility for sure. I know Vivica did a test on this and did see higher visibility with posts that she had hashtags attached to it. So on the left-hand side of your home screen, you'll see hashtags that you might have followed. For example, if you haven't followed any hashtags, there won't be anything there, but you can discover hashtags and follow them and see what might be relevant and see what people are talking about within that hashtag. And I think it's a great strategy to use for sure. Jobs, we don't talk too much about jobs because that's not necessarily our feature here, because we're talking about using LinkedIn for more visibility, but definitely that is the place to post jobs. And sometimes you could possibly, if you're looking for a job in the social media marketing area, this can definitely be a good place to look for jobs. I get lots of interesting posts, and sometimes when I'm having a bad day, I think, well, I could get that job. But stay strong, people. That you've got value, and definitely keep on doing what you do, and just get out there and have the freedom you want. That's the conclusion I always come to anyway. But it's there if you need a little pick me up. So content relates to different things. There's articles, and then there's posts that you've got. And the article is the longer form, essentially like a blog post that lives on your profile and is much more visible than a post that gets kind of pushed down. So it's a great strategy, and we'll talk about this more in the content section of the LinkedIn training, but it's a great strategy to occasionally have a blog post type of article on your profile. Company pages cannot have them, profiles can. And it's perfectly fine to repurpose a blog post that you've done in the past, put that on your LinkedIn profile, and then it really showcases some of the great articles that you have. And a lot of times these articles will get more visibility than maybe your blog post if you don't have a lot of traffic to your blog yet. So it's a great way to showcase that, and you can link over to your blog and hopefully just continue to build your audience. So here's what articles can look like, and they appear very similarly in the news feed. They look like a post, but then when you click on it, it's this big article, and it's got a big kind of header, and then you can customize how that article looks with things like italics and different headings, and add in images. So it can be a very content-rich post, and that's just reminding me that it's about time for me to post another article on my LinkedIn profile. I think it's a great way to get more visibility to some important content that you might have. Status updates are just these posts in the news feed, and videos and links and images are all great possible status updates. They don't have the same sort of algorithm that Facebook sometimes does with maybe link posts not getting as much visibility. So all the posts can do really well there. And then the great thing about the posts in the newsfeed is that a lot of times they can get a little bit more life in them because there's a little bit more visibility if people are commenting on them. So if you have an article that is causing a lot of conversation and maybe attracting a lot of attention, that post has a much better chance of being visible and getting seen. Because you can see, I just saw this post from Amy Gant at the top because my friend Henneke liked it. So it popped back up in there. She is a first connection, but it also popped back up there. And then the fact that Jim Beach commented on this post from Christopher Hanks, this is a second connection of mine, not a first connection. And I wouldn't have seen Christopher Hanks post at all because he's not a first connection of mine. But the fact that a first connection of mine, Jim Beach, commented on it, then made this post visible in my news feed. So having a post that gets a lot of interaction can really help. And then the My Network section in the menu, the top bar menu, is where you're going to see your connections, your invitations to connect, and you can decide if you want to connect with these people, and you can accept. And also, when people connect, they can also send you a message at the same time. And this is sometimes a good idea for sure to do if you've got the time. I don't do it with every connection I make, but I do sometimes to let them know why I'm connecting. And then that little note appears there, and I can reply back to that note and then accept the connection there. Notifications up at the top is a section that will show you, information about what's kind of happening in there, who's viewing your profile, if there's new things that you can congratulate people on. And people definitely have different strategies with all of this. Some people are wishing people happy birthday here. Some people are doing more of the congratulations just to get more visibility in front of their connections. So if you're really working LinkedIn, the notifications can be a great way to, just have another touch point with someone. And the menus area is in the drop-down menu in the upper right corner, and there's actually two menus, so you have to kind of be aware of that, because underneath my profile picture, I have more information about my company pages, the settings of my account, and things like that, and I can sign out there. Underneath the work icon, then you see things like being able to create a company page. You can get to groups, you can get to LinkedIn Learning, you would get to LinkedIn advertising there. So I think it's kind of confusing that they have the two menus, but whatever, that's just me. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into company pages again, but just wanted to kind of showcase a little bit about the company page limitations, because any LinkedIn strategy is going to combine the personal profile strategy as well as a company page strategy, but company pages just have a little bit more limitations. You can't join groups or start groups. Companies can't publish articles, unfortunately, which I think is a little ridiculous, but they can share an article. So for one of my clients, we would have the director of the company post the article, and then the company page would share it to get more visibility with company page followers. The company pages have followers, but they can't follow others, so there's no outreach there. It's just really a very much an attraction-based following. You have to let people know to follow your company page and get that out there. And you can't comment on other posts. You can only respond to comments on your own posts. And then the other limitation is you do have to have a business domain email in order to start a company page. So keep that in mind if you are starting a company page for a client, to work with them on getting a person who is an admin at the company who has a company page email or company domain email address. So LinkedIn strategy, and we're going to dive more into this later, but just kind of giving you an overall strategy. Combine your personal profile outreach with company page, with your company page posting and things like that. Optimize your profile and your company for search. So we're going to dive into using more keywords, all that kind of thing. You've got the company page for those updates and SEO benefits. Join key groups if that's part of your strategy. use articles and other content to really maximize your visibility there, and then add hashtags to any post for added visibility. So hope that was helpful, and talk to you guys again soon.